Okay, so ever feel like you walked into a hurricane?
You mean besides this morning's weather?
Huh?
Uh,
No, I'm talking about those epic meltdowns kids have, like when, the world is ending because their favorite show got canceled or whatever.
the drama of a broken cookie. Yeah, I think we've all been there.
Exactly. And parents are usually left scrambling for, like, a manual or something.
Well, good news. These notes you gave me on raising emotionally intelligent kids, it's basically that
I
manual.
was
Okay.
because I was thinking the same thing. Let's dive in. The first thing that jumped out at me was this idea of, like, labeling emotions.
It's surprisingly powerful because think about it, a kid who can only say, I'm mad. They don't have the words for anything more complex, right?
Right.
But if they can say, I'm frustrated because, or this makes me sad, that's huge.
So basically, we're giving them a whole new vocabulary.
Exactly. And the research backs it up. Kids who can label their feelings, they actually solve conflicts better with other kids, too. It's like they can explain themselves more clearly.
That's wild. Okay, so understanding their own emotions is step one. But what about understanding how other people feel? That seems way harder to teach.
You're talking about empathy, right?
Yeah, empathy.
It is tougher, for sure. It's more abstract. This guide suggests asking your child questions to help them see things from someone else's perspective.
So, like, instead of saying, don't be mean, it's more about saying,
Hey, how do you think your friend felt when you said that? Something like that.
so they're putting themselves in their friend's shoes.
Exactly. Even if they don't get it right away, those conversations make a difference over time.
It's
Yeah.
practice,
Yeah.
right? Just like learning anything else.
hmm
Which, actually, this makes me think we can talk about this stuff all we want, but what about our own behavior, as parents?
You're hitting on something huge. The guide calls kids emotional sponges, which I love because it's so true. They're watching us way more than they're listening to us.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, modeling healthy emotional expression, that's key.
Okay, but that's got to be the hardest part, right?
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
like, we're not perfect. Adults get stressed. We get angry.
Of course. Nobody's expecting us to be Zen masters 24/7. It's more about being aware of how we're reacting in front of our kids. Like if we yell when we're frustrated, what are we teaching them?
Right, right.
But if they see us take a deep breath, maybe say, hold on, I need a minute to calm down, that's a whole different lesson.
It shows them how to handle those big feelings.
Exactly. Okay, so let's say our kid is starting to recognize their emotions, but then what? How do we actually give them the tools to, like, deal with those feelings in a healthy way?
That's what I was going to ask about next, this whole problem-solving strategy section.
Right. Think of it like giving them an actual
That's
toolbox.
that.
So, what's in it? Could be simple stuff, deep breaths when they're angry, a quiet spot they can go to when they're overwhelmed, even teaching them to say, I feel. That's
My
powerful.
feel statements, yeah?
It helps them communicate what's going on inside.
Instead of it just bubbling over.
Exactly. And last but not least, don't forget to celebrate the wins.
Yes, positive reinforcement.
We got to acknowledge when they're trying. Even if it's messy, like maybe they start to get upset, but then they use one of their coping skills. Point it out. Say, hey, I saw you take a deep breath, just like we talked about. That's awesome.
It's like turning those moments into learning experiences instead of, like, a power struggle.
You got it.
Wow, okay. We've covered a lot. We talked about labeling emotions, teaching empathy, modeling good behavior, giving them those tools to problem solve, and then remembering to encourage them along the way.
If you had to pick one thing for our listeners to take away from all of this, what would it be?
The biggest thing is that this is a journey, not a one-time fix. It's about weaving these practices into your everyday life as a family.
Making it the norm. Yeah. Talk about feelings when you're reading together, point out empathy when you're watching a movie. And hey, we can always work on modeling those healthy coping skills ourselves, right?
Right.
It's those little moments day after day that really make a difference.
It's like you're creating this whole culture of emotional intelligence at home.
Exactly. And who knows, we might even learn a thing or two ourselves along the way.